Thunder! 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 ThunderCats! Ho!
Welcome back, kitty cat fans, to another episode of the ThunderCats Reviews, brought to you by the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am your host, Radical Ryan Hunter, here with everyone's favorite brother, David, and we're back for a new episode. Welcome, David!
Welcome, and welcome to all the Bunglers.
So I think we should spend the first few minutes catching up, because Bunglers, we record these episodes sometimes so much ahead of the game that things happen, it's a month later, and, you know, unfortunately the episode is dated in that sense with news, but a lot has happened. So the first thing, David, is we launched our first official merchandise, which was our ThunderCats Bungler shirt.
You Bungler!
Now, we were so excited about it. David and I both have versions of it. We tried it out. We made sure the quality was great.
And it washed well. That was important to me. I hate buying shirts and then they literally fall apart within like 2 washings.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't want the Radical Retro to be associated with such quality.
But it ain't Forever 21. You know, wear and throw away. Do they even have Forever 21s anymore?
They
that's
must,
really retro.
Right? But they do, because I just saw there was a Sailor Moon shirt that they had there.
Oh, okay.
Yes, actually. So yeah, they're around somewhere. So long story short, we used the website, and the ThunderCats name, we believe, got caught with copyright, because we had noticed that people are selling ThunderCats shirts galore, and we're like, well, if they could do it, we ended up drawing our own Mumm-Ra image and, you know, taking it from that. So we were like, okay, we're not going to have any problems. Long story short, the shirt was on for 2 days, and we got an email that it was being pulled for copyright. So we will be relaunching that. So that's something to look forward in the future. We're gonna find a way to relaunch that shirt, because how is it that everyone else sells ThunderCats stuff, David? And literally they're using images from like official...
This is original artwork, which is really different than literally taking the ThunderCats symbol from Google search and just plopping it onto a t-shirt. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it is what it is, but we'll make it a collector's item. This is a limited edition because we'll get sued.
Yeah, we'll have to keep putting it up for like 2 days at a time, and then they catch up, and then it's gone. So
it's like years ago when I used to go to raves. You'd get some sort of announcement from somebody, a flyer or whatever. I'm talking, this is a long time ago. You'd get something and have to show up at some abandoned factory. We'd have to go from place to place with the t-shirts.
Factory, how wonderful. Even better.
Yeah, exactly. We should go old school, do a newsletter.
You know, you just brought me back talking about concerts and stuff. What about those people that sell the t-shirts in the parking lot, and then the quality is never the same? It's always like the image is 5 shades different than what it's supposed to be. It's like,
remember when you bought me a Spice Girls t-shirt? I still have that. Mm-hmm. Was it from it wasn't from...
Oh, that was a real one. That wasn't from the merch. That wasn't...
That's hold up really well over the years.
That will be us in a few years, hopefully. The other thing is we have some mail.
My source tells me maybe your source.
She even looks older.
How dare you say that to me?
I didn't think Lionel was like that.
I tell you it's true. The information comes from my best source. There's another thing. According to my source,
I did it for the money.
and I paid the money. Are you sure your source is on our side?
You got mail.
And keep your foot off that blasted Sommoflan.
Because we take months and months to record these, mail has caught up with us, David. Monkey and Sources have been screaming.
I met her in a tree.
Met her in a tree. We have gotten so lucky with people, David. It started, of course, with our first really ThunderCats listener was Craig. We got our dear Matesh, which he has been such a joy over the last year. And let me tell you, there is our superstar Leah from Australia. I can't thank you enough. As you're listening to this, you have probably almost caught up with half of our catalog of our main show, Radical Retro Rewind. Leah just is a joy because she goes literally listens to an episode, let's say on a Spotify, and then she'll take the time to go to a YouTube just to put a comment on the episode. So David, you know, when we get comments, we're just thrilled because we're always like, are you there?
Yeah, we just really appreciate it. I think it's, again, helps us push forward with it. I mean, we love what we're doing, but it also is really nice to know that we're reaching out to other people and people are, I mean, I kind of say this all the time. It's like a broken record, but it does mean a lot. It also means a lot when people give you feedback.
Yes.
Or even a critique. I mean, we're totally, it actually just shows you that someone's listening. And you find common ground with them and they, say, well, I felt the same way about this, or I didn't feel the same way about this, or wow, I never looked at it that way. It's just, to me, is kind of the epitome of why you communicate with somebody. It's like, it's I
love that. And the fact that it's worldwide. I mean, Mitesh, UK, Leah, Australia, Craig is in Scotland. Like, I love that it's worldwide and we're having this our Bungler community. And then we also have a new Bungler friend, Zach. He's from New York, another New Yorker. And Zach, it was so amazing to read your messages, hear your story about growing up as a fan. And we cannot wait to have you on the show and pick your mind about the fandom and not only being a fan, but then getting to work and do stuff in the actual fandom. We can't wait. Everyone's messages have meant so much. Just to read a Mitesh mail. Hey, Ryan, David, and Bunglers. 2 fantastic episodes to come. First, we have the Demolisher, or the Stupid Man's Safari Joe. That's what I think. I really think he wanted to be Safari Joe.
Safari Joe does it again!
I love the action in the comedy and the over-the-top Demolisher and his one-man band. Next, we have Monkeyin, who finally grows some monkey balls and gambles with Mumm-Ra for some power balls. I hope he does not bungle it. Spoilers, he does, of course. Great episodes to come, Radical Retro ThunderCats fans. Ho, Mitesh.
Thank you so much. I love it. I love the feedback. I love just hearing about it. You know what? For me, too, the other thing I'll say is that I love the fact that you can take something that is so far removed from where we are right now and just really enjoy it and laugh about it. And so, yeah, it's great. It's great reminiscing with everybody. And it's great to have people that may have not even ever seen the ThunderCats, believe it or not. In our world, everybody should know what the ThunderCats are, but not everybody has. And I know there's there's actual people that are listening that have never heard it before. And they're listening to our commentary and our podcast about that episode, and it's new to them. And that's really cool. It's like when they discover something new. So, yeah.
What a horror thought that this is the first experience that they have with ThunderCats. So none of them can talk?
And to our listeners around the world, yes, we are American and we do not understand our own language. No, I'm just kidding.
True.
Bunglers.
I have to mention as well, the audio clips that I will be adding in later were actually brought to you by Leah, because she sent us audio versions, David, of the next batch of ThunderCats episodes. And you have no idea what a big help this is, Leah, because half the battle of editing, and I always tell David, I feel like half the battle is finding the clips, trimming them, converting them from video to audio, and then, of course, putting them in the episode. So just the fact that Leah has supplied us with the audio files for the upcoming episodes, holy crap, Leah, thank you so much. And maybe I'll add so many audio files to this episode that it sounds like you're listening to a full episode of the Micrits.
Yeah.
So,
Mickey D's.
Leah left a whopper, so I am gonna try to fly through this one, David.
Sure.
New episode, ThunderCats Ho to Ryan and David from Australia. Another absolute amazing and brilliant episode, and very much worth the long wait. Now I have to wait again, which is so true because it's a month. These month episodes. Crazy and thoughtful thoughts. The Morlocks that I referred to are actually from The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I rather like the 1960s movie version. Now that is very retro. Okay, so yes, they weren't the Morlocks from X-Men, which is what my little mind went to. I still think you're both highly competent, even if you have a few interesting moments. Definitely blooper material. I truly do love the sheer amount of details the Japanese artists put in, although I'm still questioning them on their uncomfortable choices of angles when it comes to Mumm-Ra and a few others, it seems. So Leah has these shots that she's been taking as she watches the episodes of Mumm-Ra, and they love to give him upside down crotch shots, she's noticed. I mean,
no, it's true, and it's even in the opening when he gets really big in front of the pyramid, they kind of zoom up that way, and they always go on his frothy mouth. So gross, and you're right, it is true. We've talked about this before too. You've noticed that in certain episodes when they pan, and it's like a much more detailed, it's totally different animation. It looks like from anything else in the whole episode, and it always seems to be frothy mouth Mumm-Ra.
That's what the artist chose to do their details on.
Like it's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You're like, you have, what did she say? You have Kool-Aid mouth.
You have froth mouth.
You have Mumm-Ra mouth.
So, I definitely decide that Mumm-Ra stole his pyramid as he stole it on New Thunderra too. So much evidence that he did. Otherwise, why would he be unfamiliar with some of the things inside his own pyramid? Okay, that actually is a great point. Ryan and I joked that Monkey and's girlfriend in the tree was likely the actual tree, similar to the very well endowed tree from The Last Unicorn.
Oh. There was like a tree's love. Oh.
Oh, I love you. I love you. Love, 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 love.
Oh, what have I done?
It would be right up his branch. I mean, the same artist, so that was the other thing. A lot of the same artists worked on The Last Unicorn, worked on ThunderCats, so that's fantastic. Mira, is there a Wizra in there? I'm asking for David. Then the Demolisher, if Mumm-Ra is the most powerful being in the entire galaxy, I must conclude it is particularly a small galaxy that only includes Mumm-Ra by all of his lonesomeness. Oh, this is great too. Where is Mumm-Ra's toilet? Or does he poop straight into the river of doom that runs beneath his pyramid? Or is he eco-friendly?
True. You know, in Third Earth, if you used a leaf, it would come to life and kill you, would turn into acid or something. So acid leaf trees!
And then she also adds, can we say that all mutants and Mumm-Ra are eternal bunglers? They are walking idiots with momentary flashes of brief intelligence. Such a brilliant episode, so wonderful. Keep going. Yay. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. We really do. Leah, Matesh, Zach, Craig, we speak your name all the time because we are so thrilled to have you, and we hope that today's episode continues the laughs, the information, if you get anything from us, if there's actually something you learn.
Hey, yeah.
We begin with episode 40 of season 1, Tight Squeeze, original air date of November 15th of 1985. And thank you always to the ThunderCats Wikipedia for the synopsis and the trivia that we will be using today to fill in the blanks when we do blank out. This was actually a really great episode, so we probably have a lot to say.
I have lots of notes. I have quotes.
It was very quotable, this episode.
Yes, this one was. Calling this episode the emancipation of Vultureman, like the emancipation of Mimi.
I missed when you used to come up with alternative titles for these episodes. So here we go.
The emancipation of Vultureman.
So I would say we start right into the action with this episode. The mutants are already coming, and they come upon the Thunder Tank. So like this, in the beginning, it's already in it. They've already got the plan flowing, and here we are. I actually like these episodes where we don't have to wake up in the morning, check the scanners.
Look in the mirror hoping for your man to come back to you, even though he's been gone for 10,000 years. Girl, he's not coming back.
He might come back for you, if he can. The mutants ambush the ThunderCats, but lose the battle. And the nosediver and Slithe blames Vultureman. His faulty technology for the loss of the vehicle. Vultureman, enraged, activates a self-destruct circuit in their weapons. So, David.
So, he tells Vultureman. So, first of all, they had this gun or cannon attached to the nosediver that had Thundranium shells in it.
Thundranium, yep.
And Jaffelman basically told him that Jackalman, above all, which everyone thinks he's, because he is kind of the biggest, he's almost like a little juvenile.
Yes.
He's like, Slithe, you can't wait too long because we have to do it at long range to be effective. And Slithe, being himself, of course, didn't want to listen to anybody else, so he messed it up.
Fire, Slithe, fire! If they get too close, our Thundranium shells won't work.
I'm running this ambush.
So then he goes back and tells Vultureman, your equipment is faulty, and Vultureman then loses his... Vultureman goes off on Slithe. He calls him an imbecile. Then he says, and I quote, "You don't like my machines? The weapons I have built? Then see how well you do without them. Everything I've ever built, everything I've had to fix after your clumsy efforts contains a self-destruct circuit. And I have just destructed them."
Slithe! You idiot! You imbecile! I told you to use the new Thundranium cannon only at long range. Now you've lost the nosediver and the cannon!
Your technology was faulty.
That's it! I've had it! You don't like my machines? The weapons I've built? Then see how well you do without them! Everything I've ever built, everything I've had to fix after your clumsy efforts contains a self-destruct circuit. And I have just destructed them all!
He went crazy!
And he's going, and he's leaving. He's like, he leaves the room cawing like crazy.
As things are exploding around him.
And all I could think of is in The Color Purple when Whoopi Goldberg tells Danny Glover, "Everything you've done to me, I already done to you." Ultraman's not stupid. He might be a coward, but he's not stupid. He's like, okay,
It gave me life, David.
Is he going around spitting in Slithe's drinks and stuff with that out loud, like dipping their toothbrushes in like toilet because he's like, "I'm gonna get back at you. You're not even gonna know about it."
You didn't include me in the original roster of episodes as a mutant? I'll show you, Slithe. This was the glorious return of Vultureman, I have to say. He's been absent for a while, and he made up for it. David's dramatic reading was perfect because Vultureman lost his mind. And he literally, everything is exploding around them. He walks away. And then the best part is, it just shows what we said this before. Monkeyan begins to beat the stuff. The broken technology. He begins to beat it with his mace.
Now we're reduced to Stone Age weapons again. We won't stand a chance against the ThunderCats and all their battle gear.
And he's just like, oh, well, we can't fix this.
It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. Step to. Vultureman's back. Yes.
Oh my god, it was amazing.
At the same time, you have dear Mumm-Ra watching everything on the viewing pool, the screen, because you know, he listens to everything. And he must have been like saying to himself, they're calling my name now, because the mutants say, go to... Oh, here's an interesting... Did you catch this part?
Yeah.
They say, well, we're going to have to go to Mumm-Ra to get help. Maybe he can help you. And the mutants tell Slithe, well, you're going by yourself. He goes, by myself? He looked like he's scared of him. Did you get that?
Yes, and they said too, leave us be. You go yourself. Yeah, leave us be. So they are done with this, like this Mumm-Ra at the moment.
Yeah.
Mumm-Ra? Yeah.
You persuade him, Slithe. Leave us out of it. Who, me? Alone? Yes. So be it.
Slithe is going, and then Mumm-Ra, of course, transforms like a quick change.
Yes.
He just does the quick little shh. Oh, there's chips all over the floor. I gotta clean this house before this damn lizard comes to my house now.
Is that the real reason why he's a voyeur, as we've talked about with Matesh and things like that? It's because he has to know when people are going to come to his pyramid. He doesn't do unexpected guests well. Like, keep this in mind when we review the episodes. There was something going on with Mumm-Ra prior to this, because he's transformed, like David said, before Slithe even gets there. He's already ready to transform, and he's ready to just battle. He was amped for over something. Something got into Mumm-Ra's thing in this episode, because even during the battles later, he's just like already just like, ugh, just go, leave me alone. Mumm-Ra was having a bad day. So he transforms, and this time, David, the pyramids, did you notice the tips were glowing red? The pillars around the pyramid, the tips the obelisks were glowing red today.
And then he says, I love when he says, enter reptile.
He just has to get it in. He just has to get it in.
Enter reptile. So, you've lost all your weapons, and you're crawling to me. Well.
Okay, so the plot, we forgot to mention, the plot is they thought of this after Vultureman does his terrorist attack on Castle Plunn-darr. They go, what if the ThunderCats had no weapons like us? You know, like, let's level the playing field. That's when they come up with this idea of, well, maybe Mumm-Ra can get rid of the ThunderCats' weapons. And I go, David, wouldn't this been one of the most basic? I mean, I guess it works for a little while, but to me, this would have been thought of maybe the first week of
But
a
this
plot.
has happened multiple times to the ThunderCats, including, not a spoiler alert, but the next episode, something happens to their weapons as well.
Yeah.
So this has happened before. So what I find funny is that the mutants know Mumm-Ra really well, and the Mumm-Ra knows the mutants really well, because Slithe immediately went into the, well, maybe you're not as great as you say you are. Insult the ego, and to egg Mumm-Ra on to go ahead and use, because it could have turned out very differently. Mumm-Ra could have been like, oh, you're so pathetic, haha, you have no powers, blah blah blah, and bye. Like when he sunk their actual ship into the desert sands, he pushed him.
Perhaps mighty Mumm-Ra doesn't have the power to rid the cats of their weapons. Yes? I'll show you her power!
That's the thing, David, and that's actually what I was thinking about too, why he was already hyped up, because you're right, it would have been this whole cat and mouse game, for lack of a better word, of them insulting each other, Slithe trying to barrage him with insults to get him to do something exactly. But this time, like I'm saying, Mumm-Ra was transformed already. He gave him that one insult of, well, maybe you don't have the power, and he was just like, I'm ready. I ain't even worried about Mumm-Ra wasn't worried about the insults today. He was just like, okay, well, look at this now.
He did his stretching exercises. He re-wrapped his limbs. He did a nice wrap on them to get them all ready to go. Maybe he put some salve or some lubrication on his joints.
He's been drinking. What is that stuff they advertise on TV all the time? Balance of Nature? Mumm-Ra's eating Balance of Nature.
I think he's taking some Monster or some Bang or something.
I had my Bang today. So Mumm-Ra does this spell, David, to, I guess, seal off the room where the ThunderCats' weapons are. And I love when this thing appears, David, that Cheetara actually tries to run, and she actually does catch it by its tail. I mean, for lack of a better word, she catches the end of the power, and she kind of like pulls it. But Cheetara, man, she almost caught up to that spell.
The bolts of evil? Bolts of evil! That's lair!
Bolts of evil.
Bolts of evil! Two cats! Lair!
Sudden bolts of lightning, very, very frightening me.
I actually wrote this, David. Also, Mumm-Ra was extra dry today. We talked about his froth, and in this episode, dryness. His face was extra Ren and Stimpy. His mouth was extra frothy. The spit was flying in this episode. I don't know. Yeah, so something happened to Mumm-Ra. He was recharged. He was recharged. Their whole idea is that if the Thundercats don't have their weapons, and Lion-O especially doesn't have the Sword of Omens, then they're doomed. Even though we already did one of Lion-O's anointment trials, clearly still they believe that Lion-O needs his sword.
So, the Thunderbolt of Lightning... Because I know I said sudden bolts, but I meant it. Sudden bolts of lightning.
Yeah, they were sudden.
Not thunderbolts, but it goes to Cat's lair. It seals the door. Cheetara does catch up with it, and she does get zapped. And unfortunately, it seals the door. But they get like looks like a welding torch, but something to open it up. And they can't get through. And I don't remember which sequence it went through, but Panther said he made this to be impossible to open.
Break into.
So then Lion-O calls for the Sword of Omens, which apparently can't get through the door. Now, I would have said, Sword of Omens, come to my hand through the ventilation system. Give it a little...
Guide it a little.
Guidance. I would have said, Sword of Omens, go through the HVAC system. Come to my hand.
David, you're right, because Snarf had to go through the ventilation duct. So why couldn't the Sword of Omens fly through the ventilation if it really wanted to?
I see problems. I have solutions.
Sword of Omens, not to correct you, but you could have gone up in the ceiling right now, actually. It's true.
Sword of Omens, come to my hand.
The other question is, and this is something I've thought about, the weapons that were given to them by Jaga, they are like a one-of-a-kind thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not the Sword of Omens.
I would, after this, definitely have a separate place with additional weapons in another chamber. Maybe it's like just a backup of something for the future.
I mean, because honestly, Cheetara had to go outside with a branch from a...
No, I wrote that down. Wait. This is horrible. They're all inside the cat's lairs protected, and they throw Cheetara outside and give her a twig to fight off everything. She literally has a stick that come off my tree in the backyard, and they're like, you're going to take care of anything that happens over here. They're leaving poor Cheetara by herself. They're like, oh, you do it.
Your time has come, ThunderCat.
Hadn't you better slither back to your castle, Plunn-darr, mutant?
Lost your staff, Cheetara?
Monitoring, looking back and forth with the stick, opposed to having Cheetara have to take a branch from a nearby tree. Couldn't you just have another staff or some kind of weapon in the cat's lair?
Well, they don't have curtains. I would have said, take down one of the metal curtain rods.
Everything is a weapon, David.
Everything is a weapon, people.
Take down the curtain rods. That was great. They don't even have screens, unfortunately. You know, I'm very upset with that. That was another highlight. The mutants come. They ensnare Cheetara in a net again, David. And it turns out with the trivia, it says this is the 5th time Cheetara has been snared in a net.
And you know that really pisses her off.
She's like, great. This is just what I had to end this day with. The net again.
And while she was fighting Slithe, Monkey like wrapped his mace around her leg and made her fall. You know, that is kind of like her Achilles heel. Her speed is what, I mean, she's ferocious and she's a warrior, but the speed is what gives her the agility, gives her that extra boost.
And she's also not nimble on her feet. If you don't watch where she's going, she's likely to be tied up into things. I have a 2-mile radius, damn it.
Everyone knows that. I can only maintain my top speed for 2 miles. Check Wikipedia, Ryan. Lion-O.
How do you not know this, Lion?
Everybody knows that. My dead grandmother knows this, and she never met me.
So they get this idea. They're going to have Snarf go through the ventilation, like we said, and then they say, Slithe goes, Jackalman, you're the skinniest. You two are going to go through the ventilation duct.
That wretched Snarf has gone into the ventilation shafts to try to get the sword. You're the skinniest of us, Jackalman. Get in there after him.
Do I have to?
Okay, I guess he is the skinniest Jackalman out of all
This is his big moment, and he's like, in the shaft, he's pumping himself up. He's like, you, Snarf, are gonna see what a Jackalman can do. And he's like, it's like he has to tell himself.
I'll get you, Snarf. I'll show those other mutants I can deal with a Snarf.
This is kind of where I feel like the next thing of ThunderCats, the new version that we're gonna do after this,
yes.
Because you said Jackalman's like a pet dog to them.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna see what a Jackalman can do. I'm gonna be able to crawl through this vent after you. It's like, okay, he needs that confidence boost.
So he's going after Snarf. Meanwhile, Lion-O fights a Monkey and Slithe hand to hand, but is weakened when Mumm-Ra appears and engulfs him in a force field. Snarf arrives with the sword. Lion-O uses it to free the other Thundercats. Together they defeat Mumm-Ra and the mutants. I do love this. At one point, Mumm-Ra and Lion-O are fighting, and in between them, the mutants are running after Snarf, who has
I know, it's weapons. Like a Scooby-Doo episode. That's what I got, Scoo vibes. I was waiting for someone to run into one door and then come out another door.
It was cute. It was cute. Quickly, David, Mumm-Ra literally screams, leaves, and says, "My time is forever, and I'll win, so goodbye."
You may win today, Thundercats, but Mumm-Ra lives forever, and my time will come.
Yeah, he's like, I live forever and my time will come. He's like, reminder, you're going to die one day, but I'm going to still be here.
So what
and
was
I
it?
am telling you, I'm not going. and you, I'm going to kill you. Something to note, once again, Snarf saves the day.
Oh, but he was also insulted.
I know I put fat shaming Snarf at the end, but what else did I like? So once again, he saves the day. I wrote down the thing about Mumm-Ra telling him basically he ain't going nowhere.
Again, what happened that Mumm-Ra was just like, I'm gonna do this quickly today?
Well, I liked it was he was shooting out of his hands, and then he's like, oh no, I need to shoot out of my eyes too. He's like, I'm gonna give you Superman treatment now too.
He did quickly.
That wretched creature or something, because Snarf has got the sword, which is randomly shooting light bolts out of itself, like little beams of shooting at the mutants. How did Snarf get out of the chamber? Did he open it from the inside?
That's what I thought too. Did he press a button and it opened? But then that would have been like, well, Mumm-Ra, your spell wasn't really that great.
And another thing, unless he climbed back through, because as soon as he got the sword, it shot at Jackalman, and as soon as he saw the sword, he did. Maybe Snarf, I don't know how he got back up there, but he did.
And he had to carry all the weapons too.
No, he didn't. He only got the sword because when
that's right. Lion-O carried the weapons, right? Later on.
When he called the Thunder, Thundercats Ho, the door opened, and then Cheetara and Panther, which is at Castle Plunn-darr, chained up, did the
Cheetara, especially.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Like, even Panther kind of was just like...
They did like a thing where you could see her, like, almost like she was pumping iron, like on one of those things where you scratch. She was like, ah!
But she did. She screamed and went, Rah! And like broke the thing. And even Panther was struggling.
Could you just imagine Cheetara like losing it one day, and she has all the mutants in nets hanging, and she's like boiling gold so she can melt it down in like this little lair that she's got underneath that lair. And she's like, they don't know you're here. No one can hear you scream. That's made of pure Thundrillium. Nobody can hear you. She's got them in nets.
Mumm-Ra's gold meth lab.
And with her stick. Another thing I really like. Did you see how Cheetara wielded her staff? Like in the beginning of the episode when they tried to
ambush.
And she hit her staff on the ground, and then all of a sudden the staff came into multiple staffs and shot out at them.
That woman works a staff like no one else.
And they leave her with a stick.
The other thing which was actually answered in this episode is the whole time I'm like, where's Tigra and Wily Cat? Oh, it just turns out they were out flying.
And the feliner.
And then they don't even say hello. Wily Cat goes, Snarf, I'm starving. Cook for us.
Oh, I think he said, would you cook for us?
Oh, I was just like, damn, because it came right after they insulted him about his weight, because I kept saying, well, where are they getting the title in this episode? Snarf says, it was a tight squeeze. And then Mumm-Ra says, well, you have put on some pounds lately.
Mumm-Ra?
I would have loved if it was Mumm-Ra.
Mumm-Ra's like, lay off the candy fruit, fatty. You want the skin and bones look that I have? You have to lay off the candy fruit, heifer.
It was Lion-O, but man, God, I wish now it was Mumm-Ra. I wish it was Mumm-Ra.
Wow, it was a tight squeeze, Panthro.
Well, you have added a few pounds recently, Snarf.
I know, Snarf.
Snarf! just who we wanted to see.
We're famished. Can you please cook us something?
I'm never going into a kitchen again. I'm going on a diet.
You mean no more candy fruit?
That's right.
No more breadfruit smothered in fresh honey?
And no more meat fruit roasts?
With Snarf's secret seasoning.
But I thought you were going on a diet, Snarf.
I am. Starting tomorrow.
So it was Lionel that told him that, but my God.
Do you remember in the movie version of Chicago when she says, "Here's some free advice from me to you: lay off the chocolates"? That would be Mumm-Ra. He's in his viewing pool and he's like, "Snarf still hasn't lost a pound. I see him on that scale. It's gone up. It's gone up."
He watches his weekly Weight Watchers meetings where they weigh him in.
And then Mumm-Ra does a little zap and makes the weight look like it's going up.
Oh. Snarf, I thought I lost 5 pounds. I really liked this episode, David. The trivia, which was the 5th time that Cheetara gets snared in a net. And then the other thing was Panthro says, "Snarf, you're a genius." And he also said this in the Feliner Part 1.
The other thing about the fat shaming, can we go back to the fat shaming, is that he goes, it was a tight squeeze, and Lionel does say to him, "Well, you have put on a few pounds." He's like, "Well, that's it. I'm not going to eat. I'm going on a diet." Why the kid and why the cat ask him for food. He's like, "I'm not doing it." And then he goes, You're going to stop eating candy fruit and candy meat or whatever." Like, it was like, I felt like I was in Whoville. Roast beast, candy beast. It's like,
maybe there is candy, like meat, like creatures made out of candy.
Meat grows on trees. I want that. I'm going to put a bacon tree in the backyard.
Wouldn't that be amazing, actually? The meat trees of Thunderra.
Hope it's not like, with fruitcake. With all, like, the little things in it.
Candy meat. So we'll find out today's bungler later on after we cover, David, our next episode. But do you have anything left to say about this tight squeeze?
I can relate to Snarf with the tight squeeze. And I really feel for him. I thought it was interesting that the Sword of Omens cannot be wielded by any of the other ThunderCats, but Snarf holding it actually kind of went on, what's the word I'm looking for? It went on autopilot.
They're like, it's close enough. Infinity of Lionel.
I think that it's because Snarf is so... Besides him being a force of good and trying to help the ThunderCats, you think it's because Snarf has such a close bond with him that it reacted to Snarf?
I would like to think so.
Because I've never seen any other ThunderCats pick it up and it do anything. Nothing. So maybe...
Not even for Cheetara!
Well, once again, we proved that Cheetara is the hardcore warrior. They gave her a stick and she was still fighting off people. You see that? She's fighting them off, isn't she? And then Panthro is shutting the door. Pulling the door closed.
Well, Cheetara can handle herself.
She's even looking older.
She even looks older.
Damn, that woman's a beast.
I love her. She would be my ride or die girl. She's it. That's it. It's Cheetara. Take the other ones. But that's how I would get. I'd be like, ah! I have gone.
You would have beheaded them all the first time.
Honestly, we've talked about this before, not to get off on a violent tangent, but wouldn't you, if you weren't a ThunderCat, let's say you were Willa, and you had enough...
Oh, sure. Willa kill them.
And she's like, I don't have to go by the code of Thunderra. Done. Next. And then it would only be Mumm-Ra, but then there would be no show. And then she would be committing murder. But is it a murder if it's just
Willa, they were men. They deserve to die.
Nada would say that, or as Naida, as Google would say. But yeah, we went off the rails with this one, but sorry.
You waited a month for this. You waited a month for this, radical bunglers.
I'm not delirious. I'm serious.
No, he's true. He would kill them.
I would honestly have to do it. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, but it had to be done. Like my son says when he's, that. Did I ever tell that story?
Yes. It had to be done.
My 8-year-old was acting ridiculous, and my 4-year-old at the time, he just turned 5 today.
That's right.
My 4-year-old
birthday, Matthew.
4-year-old slaps him across the face, and I go, "Why did you do that?" He goes, "It had to be done." He's like, he needed to calm down. It had to be. I was like amazed. I was like shocked, amazed, and couldn't laugh because
and awe.
Awe. But yeah, I would have, honestly, they're savages, those mutants.
And scholars.
And honestly, even in that episode in the beginning, again, I'm all over the place. This is like the regular podcast. This is when we talk about a movie, I always go off the deep end, not with the Thundercats. Slithe almost fell off the side of a cliff. They helped him, and then he kicked them off the side of a cliff. He slapped them with his hair.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Quality does that mutant have. I'd say like, bye. Code of Thunderr, you're not a Thundercat. I don't have to obey the code of Thunderr for you.
He did the right thing, but yeah, it's true.
Maybe they would lose their
powers,
their seemingly drug-induced power boost.
Actually, in our next episode, I have a question about that because it didn't give them the power boost. But anyway,
one more thing. Shout out to Sega. Wily Cat turned into Sonic.
She did do that again. Yes.
Her ball attack. She did a Sonic attack.
She does this in in Micrits. What is this? Micrits. Yeah, she turns into a ball.
She did her spinning Sonic move.
She did, which I think is actually she should be doing this all the time.
Sega.
Who needs those pellets? Yeah, that's right. Sega.
It's been a long time coming, but the OG Toonami's back on the air. You know the drill. And you love it.
It's the last trick that wins the game. Range 7-9. Let's go, Thundercats.
Sword of Omens, give me power beyond power.
Thundercats, starting Monday at 5. The old school's back in session.
You here? How?
We come to, oh god, Micrits? Micrits. This is episode 41 of season 1. Original air date of November 18th, 1985. So, David, the synopsis for this one is, while searching for Thundrillium, Lion-O discovers that there is a tribe of tiny people on Third Earth. And this plot, too, was done in ThunderCats Roar, the comedy series, by the way. We had this thing, David, where we usually say one episode is really fantastic, right? And then the writers usually can't keep it up to the next one. And I was getting ready for this, especially remembering that this was about little creatures. But I actually thought it turned out to be a great episode too. First off, I have to say, we get beautiful ambiance in this episode. It almost looks like sunset in Africa because Lion-O is out. He actually tries to get a little peaceful stroll home. And Lion-O, you know this. You can never have peace on Third Earth, even if it's sunset and it looks gorgeous and the plains and the fields.
I have to be honest with you, I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think I would ever feel safe sitting anywhere in Third Earth. I would be afraid something would come and swallow me up. Some kind of thing would drop down from a tree. Something would fly. The tree itself would melt my flesh off. Like, I really would not. Some kind of thing would happen. You know what I would do? I would have had, like, honestly, you know how above Cat's Lair, there's like the ledge above Cat's Lair? I would have had like built like some kind of a sanctuary with some trees, like a patio area, and that's all I would go. Because I'd be afraid that something's going to kill me. Like, how do you fall asleep?
Never. Like you're saying, not only that the insects
Screens would have been a must, like you said. Screens would have been a must at Cat's Lair. Or I would have automatically at a certain time metal, like weather, like in Florida and stuff when they have the storm that roll down. I'd be having that. I'm sorry. I know that they're fearless, but at the same time, like I would never feel comfortable.
Oh, you mean the
came in through the mirror, and then I wouldn't really worry about anything.
David's in his room with that mirror all day long. He didn't eat his candy meat today. Should someone go check on him?
Did I?
Oh! Beautiful Chitara.
I will return.
Beautiful Devita.
Ooh, Devita. That would be a Thundercats name. Devita. Devita with mirror action.
Real mirror action. Oh my god, that could be my commercial. Vita with real mirror action.
He holds up the mirror of Thundera.
So like Sailor Moon with the magic mirrors.
Talking about screens, we just did Beautician and the Beast last week, David and I, and there's a thing with Fran Dresser, and she's...
Dresser. That's Dresser. Dresser. Sure.
Dresser. Micrits. And she's at this castle. And she has this voice like this for anyone who doesn't know this woman.
Like our voices, but worse.
Yes, and the king in this movie is trying to imitate her, and I just heard for the first time David editing, he goes, so what if those windows are 12th century? Can't we put some screens in them?
So what if those windows are 12th century? Can't we put screens on them?
So that's this.
That would be us.
They need to put some screens in that those cat lair windows, honestly.
I'd be like, under the circumstances, can I request a room with no windows?
The poor Micrits! The poor Micrits!
It's terrible. It's terrible. We're off on tangent. This is the most tangent-filled episode of ThunderCats that we've ever had.
We hope this isn't your first time joining us.
I went to that website you told me to listen to that podcast. It only did was talk about weird stuff and themselves.
And mirrors.
And mirrors and meeting men in mirrors. I'm talking to the man in the mirror.
We need to have some kind of Wizra segments. Maybe I'll think of something how to include Wizra in our.
What would Wizra do?
Not much, because he just stares at you in the mirror.
What would Wizra do? WWWD. What would Wizra do?
I like that, actually. 2 episodes in a row, as we mentioned earlier, no weapons. I also do love, David, that this episode takes place at night. Is there something about, for you too, something about cartoons that take place at night, these episodes, especially as a kid, it almost felt extra special, like, ooh, something's going on after hours kind of thing. It's like makes the stakes a little higher.
There's something to say about it, because like even with Leah had talked about The Last Unicorn, like there's episode, like when she's flowing through the woods and it's night and it's dark, and even at the very end when it fades off and it gets darker. It's like an ambiance thing. It totally is. But yeah, Lion-O, they're looking for Thundranium. Panthro goes ahead, and Lion-O decides that he's going to look a little further because he sees some more reading on his monitor. He decides to eat a piece of fruit off a tray. God bless you.
He's probably home by now. Phew. Prospecting for Thundrillium sure is messy, but it was worth checking out those readings. It's so peaceful here.
Thank God Tiger there.
Is that, I was going to say, do we know what type of fruit that is?
Although apples still exist, I have to say, even after the world comes to an end. Shout out to apple trees everywhere.
I think it's all the pesticides and the wax build up.
He falls asleep, and then he is bound by these little Micrits. Micrits. I'm gonna say
David
Micrits.
says it flows off his tongue so easily. Micrits. Those Micrits.
Hey! I can't move! The sword! I warn you, whoever you are, if you don't
let you go, we can't. You're too dangerous.
Who are you? What do you want?
I have work to do.
Come back here!
I did actually write that, Ryan, because I have these notes scattered over on my phone. Back-to-back episodes with the ThunderCats without weapons. I did write that. And then I also wrote something which, I don't know if I said, do you ever feel like sometimes these cartoons are the part of the beginning of the environmental movement? Like conservation and being aware of like the ecosystem and the smaller surroundings. Like that's kind of how I felt like with the Micrits. Like it was like an awakening, like this is, for lack of a better word, an ecosystem, and you're destroying it by trampling over it and not respecting it.
David, that's beautifully said, because I actually wrote, I think Lion-O is very smart for his age, because he's being tied up at this one point, and he says, Snarf is walking, and he's like, be careful, they're everywhere. And then Snarf says, I don't see them, and he goes, that's the problem. You don't see them, you don't know that they're there. So yes, I agree, David. It's like almost like you have to take a deeper look.
Careful! Don't step on them!
What?
The Micrits! They're all over the place!
I don't see anyone!
That's the problem.
That's again why I don't care if they sold toys or not. These cartoons were really something.
A higher conscience. That's why I like the fact that, you've mentioned before, even with Gem, which I hope we did that one podcast about it, but I want to would like to do the whole thing.
Stay tuned, Starlights. No. Maybe that's what we'll call them, the Starlights.
And then, of course, I'm going to have to sing a little bit of every episode, the Gem's latest song.
ThunderCats? What? ThunderCats.
I'm rekindling my once promising singing career.
These little things that are living on Third Earth have little huts. They're basically tiny creatures.
They're littles. Remember the littles? From
the littles.
Littles, we're living with you, don't you know?
Panthro's nunchucks, Chitara's baton, all our weapons and equipment.
Why are you doing this? We've caused you no harm.
No harm? You giants have torn up our countryside for the last time.
Torn up what?
Our fields and farms and houses. Every time you come rampaging through here.
I didn't realize this area was inhabited.
Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there.
I apologize for any damage we've done. But tying me up and stealing our things won't help matters.
But it may stop you blundering through our homes and wrecking our lives.
I have to bring up that Vultureman's meltdown is never brought up ever again. And that all of a sudden, I'm assuming he rebuilt all of the vehicles that he destroyed.
Please take us back.
Maybe Vultureman just needed to be heard last episode.
I feel it. I understand that. I mean, Ryan, do you ever feel like a paper bag drifting in the wind, wanting to start again?
I do feel
Have you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Boy, Micrits. The Micrits, everybody. The Micrits. Okay.
We're going to have to re-record this. I'm going to shut up now. Stick to the actual plot, please. Lionel's captured.
Lionel convinces the Micrits to agree to a pact to free him long enough to rescue the other Thundercats, because it just so happened that while the Micrits... oh my god, forgive me, Bunglers. I'm bungling myself. The Micrits stole all their weapons again, and they were able to tie up Lionel with Thundranium silk-looking bands.
That won't work, Snarf. These glow strands have Thundranium in them.
Thundranium! We've got to get you out of here fast!
They actually have magic, it seems, David,
Yeah.
right? They form this stuff with their hands. Snarf is trying to find out where Lionel is because, of course, he's the one worrying, where is Lionel? It's after dark and he's still not home.
And there's some really sweet part of this when he goes, he doesn't need me. He's grown up. He doesn't need me anymore. And then he's like, oh no, I'm going to find him anyway. He starts walking. And this is, again, true parenting and love, and doesn't want anything to happen to Lionel. He truly loves Lionel, like, dearly. He's going out, even though he doesn't have any superpowers, he doesn't have any weapons, he's literally leaving Cat's Lair and searching for Lionel.
Lionel! Why am I out here? He's all grown now. But I can't help it. Lionel!
I love this. And that's why these two's bond is unbeatable. The mutants attack at the perfect time. Snarf tells Lionel that he noticed the mutants were on the way to Cat's Lair while he was looking for him. Sorry, I didn't give you the heads up, everybody. And at one point, again, this shows Panthro's physical strength. He has to close the Cat's Lair doors by himself, and he's like pulling them, the metal closed. Although last episode, Chitara was able to break out faster than Panthro out of her bonds, but Panthro is still a beast of a man.
So I screwed that up too. I said he left her outside and pulled the doors closed. So I screwed that up too.
I know they both blurred to me too. Bunglers.
I literally took 2 episodes and blended them together. For me, it was just a blur. I am so sorry.
The tight squeeze of the Micrits.
If you would like, I will re-record this at a later date and actually just go off go on a script, because I literally took 2 episodes. Well, they were very much alike.
They were alike, David.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
This is what you signed up for when you took this journey.
This is what happens when you eat too many candy fruits.
The candy meat. So he makes this bargain to tie Snarf up, hold him hostage. Lion-O says, I will honor your word if you will honor my word. You don't hurt my friends, but give me back the Sword of Omen so I can, help my friends. They agree.
And he says, don't come back by sunrise?
Sunrise, and they're going to...
You will never find him.
Your friends won't help you. They're busy fighting the other giants.
Other giants?
The mutants! I saw them heading for the lair!
Release me, Bite Chugga!
No, you've done enough damage to our lives. That's why we took all your weapons and sabotaged your fortress and your vehicles. Without them, you can't fight. And if you can't fight, maybe we can live in peace.
Micrit, you must free me right now, for your own good.
My own good?
Yes, for your own good. Without our weapons, the ThunderCats may be defeated by the mutants. Then evil and destruction will reign everywhere on Third Earth.
How can I trust you if I free you?
I give you my word as the Lord of the ThunderCats.
Word? What's that?
It's a promise.
A promise can be broken.
Not if we trust each other. If you will trust me not to harm you, I will trust you not to harm my friend here. I'll leave him with you.
Lion-O!
Is my word enough for you, Micrit?
Very well. But I warn you, any treachery, and you'll never find your friend again.
I'll be back.
You have until dawn.
I'm like, well, what are they gonna do? Are they just gonna take him? Or are they gonna kill him? So Snarf ends up saying, as soon as Lion-O goes, he's like, do you know how to play chess or checker?
Chess.
I love that. I love that about Snarf.
You fellas know how to play chess?
So at one point, Wily Kit says, we're gonna have to fight our way out of here. I love this.
This is it, Wily Kit.
I won't let you down, Wily Cat.
I love this. And David, this is when she does your shout out to Sega.
Shout out to Sega. She becomes Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, Sonic is really popular right now. Again, they're making a 3rd movie. I mean, come on. Now. Sonic, Sega.
Lion-O signals the ThunderCats with the Sword of Omens and takes the ThunderCats' confiscated weapons to the cat's lair. So this is when I was saying last episode that they get the call, David, but even though they don't have their weapons, I always assumed it still gave them the strength. Like, I assumed it still would give them that,
They don't have their weapons on them all the time when they get the call.
That's what I was thinking, right? So
who was the one who said that before Wily Cat turned into Sonic? Who said to them, out of my way, kittens, your lease is expired?
That should have been Mumm-Ra. But no, I think it was Slithe.
Out of my way, kittens. Your lease here has expired.
And he said, your vehicle warranty has also expired.
We've been trying to contact you, yes?
We've been trying to contact you. The Thunder Tank's warranty is expired.
You have not answered your phone, yes? Lion-O actually uses the shield claw, attaches to Cat's lair, climbs up, and is able to get into Cat's lair, give the weapons to the ThunderCat, and they're able to expel the mutants out of Cat's lair.
Did you notice something? I noticed a mistake. I caught a mistake in the cartooning. Cheetara has her baton on her forearm, as she normally does, but she's not supposed to have the weapon. She's being shot at by one of the mutants, and she's around the corner, and she has the baton on. Just a little thing.
But they animated it on. So yeah, that is a mistake, though. Continuity. So the mutants are defeated, keeping his word. Lion-O returns to the Micrits village, and Snarf is released. The ThunderCats set up a marker system that shows the boundaries of their territory. So this in the future, they won't cross them. As a matter of fact, at the end, they're going to get another batch, and Lion-O goes, "It's it's right through there, but we'll go this way.
What was the joke at the end about being good neighbors? But he says it's just a tiny thing to do or something. It's such a small thing to do. Ha ha ha.
Thunder. Yeah, so, and the laughs, and they laugh.
This way! More! That's it!
That's the last marker, Lionel.
Good. Now we know the exact boundaries of the Micrits' territory. We'll put it on all our maps, and those markers will make sure we don't go across it by mistake.
Now, how about those new Thundrillium deposits you found?
Right. It's straight across there. But we'll take a slight detour from now on. After all, being considerate to your neighbors is such a small thing, right?
Right.
The trivia is, strangely, Monkey is missing from this episode while all the other mutants are present. All of the mutants' vehicles are shown to be working perfectly in this episode, even though Vultureman had destroyed them all in the previous episode of Tight Squeeze, like we mentioned. This is the second time that Wily Kit employs her special fighting technique in which she curls into a fast-spinning ball. The last time we saw this was in the Tower of Traps 2 years ago on this show. Also, Season 1.
Or apparently the Tight Squeeze episode, as I call it, the emancipation of Vulchi. Disclaimer, we need to do the disclaimer in the front. Ryan, I think we should just do a disclaimer and say that we blended both episodes because of their similarity, and we hope that the fans will appreciate the fact that we just bungled the whole thing. The biggest bungler is us.
I was just gonna say, should we announce that now?
Sure.
You bungler! Once again, you have failed.
You bungled it!
The biggest bungler today, bunglers, is us.
It's me, it's you, it's us.
It's us.
Because we basically took 2 episodes that were similar, which are back to back, and combined them.
And then talk nothing about Micrits.
So,
I'm not even saying their name right. Micrits.
I appreciate your patronage. I appreciate you coming to listen. For those of you who may be the first time you're hearing us, please don't judge us. We're actually usually factual, yet funny, chunky, yet funky. But no, not today. Not today, people.
I feel like we said so much, but nothing at all, actually, at the same time. I can't think of a bungler besides us I'm thinking of Vultureman. I love that he did that, so I couldn't even call him a bungler in the last episode.
And this episode really, the bungle you could say is that the ThunderCats are not aware of their surroundings, which is what I tell my son all the time, be aware of your surroundings. But at the same time, no one would really be able to really know because they were so tiny and small. And if you're driving someplace, you don't really see that. But we are the biggest bunglers. I am taking my bungler crown and I am putting it on my bungled head.
So David's right. If you don't get anything from this episode, maybe in the future we'll do a special Micrits.
No, we need to redo the whole thing. You should just literally record yourself reading the synopsis of both.
That's the episode. That is the episode. No, they don't even mention your goof, which is great, David, that you saw Chitara's stick on her arm. They just said after the Micrits had tied up Lionel and walking around his chest, the mustache of the Micrit in the middle appears and disappears between shots.
So I found something that no one else has ever found.
That is what you did for this episode.
I am an original.
That is how you saved us. You noticed that one continuity error that no one else has. That's what we brought to this episode. That's what we brought to this episode, bunglers. So should we wrap this up, David? Do we have anything else to say?
Stick a fork in her. She's done. Thank you, as always, for listening. We hope you enjoyed this, shall we say, blended. We said we were going to do 2 episodes at a time. We really meant it. Not.
Yeah, we meant it, y'all.
We meant blending. Honestly, watched one, you could almost see the other. It was the same plot in the sense of the weapons lost, the mutants taking their opportunity. One had Mumm-Ra, one didn't. One was more about being aware that you're not the only person, place, or thing going on in your universe, that you have to be careful with this Micrits or Micrits. And there was other things. There was some really nice things going on, as far as, like, again, Snarf and his bond and different things like that. But it was good. I actually really enjoyed recording this, but yeah, it was, I made some mistakes.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing. I guess we never did say that we were scholars, but we do love ThunderCats.
You know what? Why did I put it in my notes from the first episode? I don't know what I did.
Because they blended. I watched them both twice in the last 2 days just to remember. Yes, one was more of, like you said, it was more about nature and observing things around you. But both were, we don't know what to do without weapons. But they do. They don't need weapons when you got Cheetara.
And we also proved once again, that Cheetara is always left to fend for herself and everybody else.
They will lock her outside.
She is Xena.
Oh, amen. Amen.
And everyone else is Gabrielle.
In a world of Gabrielle's, be a Xena, be a Cheetara.
Yes.
So, my God, we hope this was worth the wait. And
he was like, I have to wait another month for this.
For this.
I even gave you clips. How much more should I just do the podcast myself?
Well, maybe. Thank you again. You can always reach David at Universal Appeal 2021 word on Instagram, and the Radical Retro Rewind Podcast, one word on Instagram. Remember, we also have our ThunderCats only page, which is ThunderCats 1985 reviews on Instagram. All of the links are in the description box below. We will be back with the next 2 ThunderCats episodes, and we're going to bring so many facts next time. You're all going to be shaken with what we're bringing.
Oh my God, they're an encyclopedia of ThunderCats.
Oh my God, as always, David, ThunderCats ho.
Oh! Who you calling a hoe?